We are recording late on a Thursday, just in time for the Europa League games, and well, frankly, we just wish we were in Lyon with a friend of the show, Tom, drowning ourselves in French beer, singing "It's Forever Blowing Bubbles." Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen, Season 2, Episode 58 of the Anglo-Italian pod. As always, I'm Tommaso, and I'm joined by my good friend and co-host...
Me, Rory, I'm here. How are you, Tommy? How are you, listeners? Hope you are all very well.
Well, I'll answer for myself since the listeners, we wouldn't hear them. I'm doing great. I'm leaving for London in 6 hours from now. So by the time you will be listening to this pod, I will be in the English capital. I'm very excited. Rory, for the first time in my life, I want to take a look at all the most famous stadiums in London. I'm very excited about that.
You have to go to the Emirates first, right? That has to be first. You can't go to any other before the Emirates. Not Stamford Bridge. Don't tell me you're going to go see Tottenham before you're going to see Arsenal.
Dude, my apartment that I rented is in Tottenham Hale. So I think that's going to be the first one I'm going to go and see. I'm very sorry about that.
So you're going to go see the toilet bowl and then you can see the proper stadium. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. What are your plans for Easter, man?
I've got a friend arriving in, a friend and his girlfriend, who is also a friend, arriving in 2 hours or so. They're currently in the air. So it's my first visitors for 2 years, which feels fucking crazy. Brad and his missus are coming out, and then we're going to Florence. So I'm pretty excited. It's my first time in Florence.
Make sure you get panino col lampredotto. These are... it's basically the interiors of the cow. They boil them
and then they tripe. I don't like tripe, man.
Man, you gotta try it. At least try it. Make sure you try it with a nice glass of red wine in any square in Florence. It's cheap. It's filling. It's fucking awesome.
Well, I've heard the meat there is incredible, so I'm pretty excited. And the only problem is my mate Brad does not give a flying fuck about football. So obviously his missus doesn't give a fuck either. My missus doesn't give a fuck. And I'm still trying to figure out if I can squeeze in a trip to the Artemi or Frankie, but I don't think I'm going to be able to.
I think it's not that far from the center of Florence. It's a pretty small town, but hey, we'll be sharing any of the stadiums that we see on our Instagram. Nice little leeway. Make sure you follow us.
Oh, Tommy, we need a picture for the Instagram and Twitter of you doing the knee slide next to Thierry Henry. That's what we need.
Fuck yes, I will try my best and do it.
Let's do it.
But remember to follow us on Instagram if you wanna. If you don't want to miss all these pictures at Anglo-Italian Pod, you can follow us on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. You can find us on YouTube, of course, Spotify, and here we have just landed on LinkedIn as well. So you can.
We're everywhere.
What? You can't escape us, guys. This episode is probably going to be a bit shorter than usual. We get it. You're going to be very busy with your families over Easter, enjoying the beautiful weather, eating great food. What is the structure of the episode? We're going to go first a bit around the world. Then we're going to preview Serie A and Premier League for what concerns this weekend. And then in our weekly topic, we are going to break down this week's action in the Champions League, but especially the head-to-head between the managers that are going to take these four teams into the hottest part of the season. Rory, are you excited?
I'm pretty excited. I'm going to say I'm very excited.
Let's do it. The first news from around the world that I wanted to share is a feel-good news coming from the Bundesliga. It was beautiful to see 3 days ago in the game between Augsburg and Mainz. It was the first time in professional football that a football player, Niakate in this case, was given officially by the referee time to drink after sundown as he was following Ramadan. It was great to see, and it was very well welcomed by the entire stadium, who started clapping their hands. The player proceeded to shake the hand of the referee. All the managers applauded, and then the game proceeded, and they thought it was just beautiful to see that somebody thought about this. I cannot imagine playing any sport without any food nor water in my body.
It's insane. I think I mentioned it in the last week's episode. Fofana did it for Leicester, where he hadn't taken on any liquids and played. And even so, personally, the last school I taught in was a heavily Muslim school. There was a lot of Muslim students, and even the students in class during Ramadan, understandably, they were unable to concentrate. They were constantly tired. They were it was a real struggle during Ramadan to keep them awake to keep them studying. So I can't even imagine how hard it is to then compete as a world-class athlete, having not taken on any calories at all. It genuinely is like mind-blowing. It's so impressive.
Where are you taking us next, Rory?
Well, first, it's a little bit sad news, but this week, former Colombia captain Freddy Rincon died in a car crash at the age of 55. Really sad, awful news. He played in the 86, 90, and 94 World Cups for Colombia. He holds the record with Valderrama. 1994 and 98 World Cups. He holds a record with Valderrama for Colombia with the most World Cup appearances at 10. He played for Napoli. He was on loan in the 94-95 season. He made 28 appearances, and most Napoli fans will remember him scoring 2 goals against Lazio as they came from 2-0 down to win 3-2. And just really sad news, but some of the stuff we've seen come out about him on social media has been beautiful. So rest in peace, Freddie. And, of course, a Football Manager legend.
I'm going to take it to another sad news, not as sad as this one. However, Catania, historical Italian club, officially went bankrupt during the course of this week, and it was beautiful to see that. Well, now they're going to be relegated to the very bottom leagues, but it was beautiful to see that the day after the news broke, the Palermo fans, their number one rivals in football, had unveiled a banner outside their training ground saying, "We are with you. Whoever is managing this sport doesn't think about the people who love it." And I thought it was beautiful. And if you want to take a look at where Catania and Palermo are respectively in Sicily, whoever put that banner, I want to think, went all the way from Palermo to do it, because there aren't many Palermo fans in Catania. So I like the idea of this guy driving across Sicily over one night to unveil that banner. Sportsmanship at its very finest.
That is a club that is. This must be like the 9th version of that club now, Catania. They've been in and out of business so many times, it feels like.
Friend of the show, Luca, will come on soon to tell us all about Catania. Since he was a Palermo fan, but then when Catania got good again, he went back to supporting Catania. Since he's from there. Where are we going to next, Rory?
Well, next, kind of the story that I think we just need reminding a little bit. Very quickly, the Scotland versus Ukraine playoff has been settled for the 1st of June. So we have a date that is going to take place. Obviously, this is going to be a bit of a weird game because, well, it's obvious why it's going to be weird, right? There's going to be a lot of sympathy towards the Ukrainian players. They're not going to want to be treated any differently. They're going to want Scotland to play properly and give them a game, and Scotland want to play at a World Cup. I hope that the emotion around it should be, of course, acknowledged, but then I hope the game isn't affected by it without it sounding, unless that doesn't sound cold.
We shouldn't add anything because that sounded perfectly worded.
Okay, and I think hopefully it's just 2 teams that try their hardest to get to the World Cup and the best team wins, right? But I think it's just nice that Ukraine are going to have their chance. It's going to be at Hampden Park. The winner obviously goes on to play Wales in the final. The winner of that then goes on to face England, Iran, and USA. I think it's just nice to have the date settled and Ukraine have their chance to make it to the World Cup. If Ukraine make it to the World Cup, that's a crazy story. Like, that would be insane.
It is a crazy story. Good luck to both the Scots and the Ukrainians. And Rory, if you haven't got any other news, I've got one to make our friends happy over in the United States. The Minnesota Timberwolves basketball team from Minneapolis, MN, have finally made it to the playoffs, and it's looking like this could be the year to get all the way to a conference final. The big rival in that bracket is, of course, Ja Morant's Memphis, but we shall see. Go Wolves, keep howling, I guess. It's pretty exciting. NBA
I can imagine the American fans actually howl as well. I can imagine they actually howl at games.
There is the howlometer. I've been.
Oh, Christ alive!
Yes, the howlometer.
me and my friends had a thing on when America were drawn in the same group as England. We just spent like hours sending on our WhatsApp chat just videos of like the cringiest American football chants, because we would just spend the one of like I believe we will win is the cringiest thing I've ever seen in my life. So I can imagine just how bad it is.
Quite possibly. And if we've got nothing to add, it's now time to jump to Serie A. And Rory, I don't know if you've heard the news, but Serie A is over officially. Torino have won it, but of course, I'm not talking about.
Juve fans are going to be fuming.
I'm not talking about the real Serie A. It was the second official Serie A FIFA, the video game championship, and Torino have won
like
it.
how you had to say the video game.
No, because it's Serie
For the
A
kids,
FIFA.
the video game.
No, but like if you say FIFA, it sounds like the football association. But they've won it, and last year I absolutely ignored this. The winners were Benevento. So beautiful to see that the whipping boys of last season actually won the FIFA title, and this year Torino fans have got something to celebrate as well. Now, I would like to start our Serie A preview for the weekend. It's going to be a weird weekend because, our country is very religious. We are not playing on Sunday. So the games are going to be on Friday, Saturday, and Monday. Of course, it's kicking off on Friday with Spezia Inter at 7 p.m. and AC Milan Genoa at 9 p.m. I would like to start with a very interesting article that guess where I read this article. It was on Rivista Contrasti.
I feel like we need to approach them for a sponsorship at this point.
Yeah. But they're a great online magazine about football, and I agree with their point that they made that said there is no powerhouse in Serie A this season, and that's evident. It's apparent. But it's also funny because the three top teams keep slipping. And so they try to analyze why. And the bottom line in this article that I thoroughly appreciated was that AC Milan are unfit technically. If we see how little they've been scoring recently, I think we can all agree with that. Inter Milan, after the Conte era, were on confidence the entire time, right now they seem unfit character-wise. They don't seem to have the power to just close up the game and just win it and just keep moving forward. They had a very good run, but right now it feels like the fatigue is catching up with them, also mentally. And finally, Napoli are the ones that on paper and looking at how they've been playing, they could be the favorites, but they are unfit historically. What we know is that this Serie A is very exciting. Alberto Gilardino even today said on Italian news, he said that he doesn't remember any Serie A being as exciting as this one. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been following the Italian league, this is the time. It's going to be intense until the end of the season. Rory, I see you were doing a weird face while looking at the phone. What game? I
think West Ham have just gone 3-0 up. Jared Bowen's just scored, I think. That's put them, unless that's a replay, I'm just double checking. It's a great goal. Really, really, really terrible defending from Leon, but yeah, West Ham are 3-0 up. It's now 4-1 in the tie. Oh, God, Tom, I wish I was with you, mate. The beer would be flying absolutely everywhere. He said he was in the centre of Lyon, and it was like this really beautiful French city. Then all of a sudden you just heard, "Come on, you Irons!" And just loads of East Londoners walking down the road.
That's awesome. Well, going back to Serie A, on Friday, it all kicks off at 7 p.m., as I said, between Spezia and Inter Milan. Spezia, they are not quite on the beach yet, but definitely they've had a pretty good run of fixtures. They are now 11 points ahead of Venezia. With another few points, they could secure their Serie A for next season as well. Inter Milan, it goes without saying, another game not to fail, because it should be all wins between now and the end of the season.
Similar to Tommy, don't jinx it.
Should no, I do. It has to be. I wanted to mean that. Not it should be. It has to be. Also for AC Milan, if they want to win the title, it has to be all wins. What better place to start than at home versus Genoa? Now, similar games for Inter and AC Milan. Genoa have lost their last two fixtures against Verona and Lazio. AC Milan, however, have drawn their last two Serie A games 0-0. In the previous three games, they won by only one goal. All the games they won were 1-0. And before that, they drew 1-1 to Udinese. So AC Milan cannot score more than one goal per game. Genoa,
I've got a feeling about that Genoa game. I think Genoa might. I'm going to say Genoa might get a win, you know.
Genoa are still there, man. Genoa, they could still be saved. They need to get points, though. And
they need them. They
definitely need them. On Saturday, we've got Cagliari Sassuolo at 12:30 p.m. Cagliari still fighting for relegation. Sassuolo, definitely on the beach. Then we've got Sampdoria Salernitana, a very important game for both at 2:30 p.m. And simultaneously, we've got Udinese versus Empoli. Empoli, we said it, they had a great first half of the season, and then they haven't won a game since, I believe, December. At 4:30, we've got Fiorentina Venezia. Fiorentina are keeping their eyes on the European spots. And then at 6:30, Juventus Bologna, and at 8:45, Lazio Torino. We take a break on Easter Day to celebrate the resurrection of our Lord, JC. And we come back on Monday night with a pretty big game at 7 p.m. Napoli versus Roma. Now, Roma, they want the European spot. Napoli, they won the title. They have just slipped against the Fiorentina. This is their opportunity to stay in the race for the scudetto. And it all wraps up at 9 p.m. with Atalanta, Hellas Verona. Talking about Atalanta, we know, because it's 10 as we're recording, that Atalanta have lost 2-0 against RB Leipzig. Not the rosiest end of the season, also because they will miss out on Champions League. They might miss out on they're definitely going to miss out on the Champions League. And so this was their ticket to the Champions League next season, winning the Europa League. What do you think is 2021-2022 Atalanta season?
It's been massively disappointing. I feel like they had quite a good start to the season, and they've massively dropped off. I feel like some of the signings, like Borgai, I was really excited about, and I feel like he's not been that impressive since he got there. I feel like they've had a lot of injuries. Obviously, Zapata and Muriel have been out kind of for spells throughout the season. So I feel like it's just the season's just kind of petered out. It's just slowly got more and more disappointing. For them to lose this against RB Leipzig, it was always a possibility. Like, Leipzig are a decent side, but it feels like they've just kind of whimpered out. Of course, Nkunku got 2 goals, because who else scores for Leipzig except Christopher Nkunku? But I feel like for Atalanta, maybe, do you think that Gasperini maybe is being found out?
I don't know. Gasperini has done something incredible at Atalanta, but it's not only Gasperini. Like, the whole club works perfectly. They've really established their system, and there are foreign clubs looking at how Atalanta went from being always on the brink of relegation to being one of the top teams in Italy. I don't know about Gasperini. Gasperini, I think he's ready. I don't know if in now or in a few years, but to take on a bigger job and make his name. Because
he tried at Inter and it didn't work, right?
He tried at Inter and it was terrifying. That's the worst football I've ever seen play at Inter Milan. I think he was unfit to coach such a big team. If I have to say which big team he might coach in the future, I think it would be Juventus. That's where he started from as assistant manager.
There's no way Juventus are going to deal with his lack of defending, surely.
I have no idea, but maybe in the future that could happen. I know I follow a few Atalanta pages from our Instagram, from our pod's Instagram, and they're all pretty disappointed. But what they keep saying is, like, whoever is lagging off Atalanta, all the Atalanta fans that are lagging off the team right now, they have a very short memory, because up to 7 years ago, we were light years from where we are now. And how could you not agree? So one off season after, Champions League antics, semifinals versus PSG and all that, it's also understandable. Hopefully next season they will be better. I hope not, because hopefully for you fans. For me, I really dislike Atalanta as a team, but I reckon that what they've done over the past years is insane. Rory, I give it to you to go to England.
So England, we've got FA Cup semi-final weekend, 2 massive, massive games. So on Saturday, it kicks off at 4:30 Central European time as Man City take on Liverpool after that incredible game in the Premier League, which was honestly just such an amazing, amazing game. Like, so many of those games between the top 2 teams become so disappointing. And like, Tommy, you kind of mentioned it to me. We saw Inter versus Juve. It was the poster game of Serie A, and it was massively disappointing. And this City-Liverpool game just did not disappoint in any way. A draw in the end, but either team could have won it. I think Liverpool got lucky with quite a few decisions, but it was a draw in the end. It was a great game. The thing that City should be worried about is the fact that they've had a very, very taxing game against Atletico, whereas Liverpool got to rest players and still got through against Benfica. But massive FA Cup semi-final, like huge. You know what's going to happen. Hopefully it's a replay of the previous game. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, I got to watch extended highlights for that game, and in the end, it took me like 1 hour because there were so many plays that I had to rewatch twice, and it was just the opposite of what Juventus Inter was, and it was honestly like anybody who doesn't like football, they would show you the Juventus Inter game to give you all the reasons why they don't like it, and a football fan like myself would show you the Liverpool City game to show you how great of a sport it is, and in how many different ways you can find the goal. Like I think there were so many shots, there were so many good plays, so much creativity, so many world-class players all sharing the same pitch. It was really a spectacle for the sport of football.
Well, this is definitely. And it felt like the two best teams in the world playing against each other, really. That's what it felt like. So hopefully, hopefully a repeat on Saturday, hopefully. And then on Sunday, we have Chelsea taking on Crystal Palace. Now, it's kind of interesting, this, because Crystal Palace, one of their greatest or one of their best players this season has been Conor Gallagher. This kicks off on Sunday at 5:30. And Chelsea have refused his permission to play the game because he's on loan from Chelsea. They've said he's not allowed to. Now, obviously for Palace, this is going to be a huge miss. The way that Conor Gallagher plays, absolutely like non-stop press, just never stops running, so dynamic and like a great player. I think Crystal Palace are going to miss him. But what I found more interesting was like for him, are you going to now, like, what do you think, Tommy? Would you look at your parent club now and be like, oh, fuck you guys, you've taken away my opportunity to play one of the biggest games in Crystal Palace's history. Like, Crystal Palace have never won a major trophy, right? They've got to an FA Cup final, but they very rarely get to semi-finals, finals. This is a huge game for them. And his club have now said, you're not allowed to play. Like, I feel like maybe he could harbor a little bit of a like, oh, you know what? Maybe I will leave in the summer. Like,
I think, knowing myself, I would be just like, you know what, guys, fuck you. Like, this is unfair. What is your take? It's a difficult one. I was trying to think of similar situations, but none really comes to my mind.
Or is it a compliment that they're like, oh, they really rate me because they definitely don't want me in the team against them? So it can be taken like two ways. I think he probably, like, would he have expected it? No, but he knew it was a possibility. But I just feel like maybe, because there's been a lot of talk about could Palace sign him in the summer. The Palace players have been like pretty open with being like, Conor, you need to join us. You need to join us. You need to join us. So I think maybe it could be a deciding factor. But the game, Chelsea, very, very good against Real Madrid. Again, we're going to talk about it. But ultimately, disappointing. They couldn't see it out. Their form has been wavering a little bit. And Palace are going to be bang up for this. I'm going to stick with my dark horses Palace shout. I'm going to say they get through this.
We will see, man. I was just realizing that there are a shit ton of games in London this weekend. It's going to be exciting. Tottenham are playing at home. Chelsea are playing the semi-final in London. God, the level of organization that it takes to a city to have that many games,
Saturday and Sunday are both at Wembley.
All right. Shit, man. Exciting.
There's going to be football fans fucking everywhere, Tommy. You're not going to be able to move. Hopefully, maybe you'll see someone with a flare up their arse if you're lucky.
I can't wait to sit at a pub. Just a quick story, guys. When I went to Liverpool, we walked our friend's cousin. She's from Coventry. She was showing us around. At 4 p.m., we walk inside a pub, and there are screens everywhere, like 5 Premier League games, 5 Championship games, girls everywhere, booze flowing. And Kate turns around, and she doesn't know me very well. She looks at me, and she's like, Tommy, if you don't like this place, we can find a new one. And I was just like, wait, what do you see wrong with this place? Like 10 screens to watch football, beer on deck, girls everywhere. What's better than this? I hope that if heaven exists, it's very similar to an English pub in the afternoon of a Saturday. It would be incredible, man.
In the summer.
Yeah,
You
in the
can't beat
summer.
an English summer pub. You cannot beat an English summer pub.
I'm very, very excited. But sorry, let's go back to the FA Cup semi-finals.
So yeah, the FA Cup semi-finals. As I said, Man City versus Liverpool on Saturday, Chelsea versus Palace on Sunday. Then we have some Premier League action as well. It kicks off on Saturday early. We have Tottenham taking on Brighton. Brighton, fresh from getting their first goals in 6 games and their first win in about 10 years against Arsenal away, because of course that happened. Tottenham in great form. Just fuck off. Then we have in the 3:00 kickoffs on Saturday, we have Manchester United taking on Norwich City. There are protests planned at Old Trafford by the Man United fans. It feels like, you know how people complain about Christmas comes earlier every year? It feels like the Manchester United protests come earlier every year. The owners have now announced that they're going to refurbish the stadium. They've picked the same architects as the people who designed the toilet bowl at Tottenham. So that'll be interesting to see what they do at Old Trafford. But there are protests planned. At the same time, we also have Watford versus Brentford in a kind of big relegation battle, although I think how the relegation games have gone recently, I think maybe the 3 at the bottom are the 3 that are going to go down. Then we also have Southampton taking on Arsenal. Fuck's sake. Arteta's gamble didn't work. He took a massive risk with a tiny squad and it's backfired hugely. Partey is injured, Tierney's injured, and everything has turned to dust.
Now, I'm not gonna single them out, but there were 2 fans who wondered whether you didn't come on. We canceled the Monday episode because you didn't want to talk about Arsenal. So, Rory, prove them wrong and show that you're able to talk about the defeat against Brighton. What the fuck happened, man?
We were shit. We were shit in both games. Crystal Palace, we refused to. We just didn't turn up, and Palace were bang up for it. They scored 2 goals. We started playing in the second half. We were terrible. The game against Brighton, Arteta got it wrong completely. Like, Tierney's injured. He didn't trust Tavares. He put Xhaka at left back. Xhaka missed the runner for the first goal. And we didn't start playing until the 90th minute. We finally decided to be like, holy shit, let's go, guys. Let's run. All we did was pass sideways, barely pressed, no threat. Lacazette didn't touch the ball. He didn't have it. There was 10 players for Arsenal who took a shot. Our striker wasn't one of them. Lacazette was completely anonymous. We had nothing. We have, like, Arteta, as I said, Arteta took a massive gamble with the squad size. He got rid of a lot of players in January. He thought he had enough to get us through. I think I said at the time, if we get some injuries, we're pretty screwed. We've got some injuries and we're screwed. At this point now, I would think top 4, we can still do it because we've got a game against Tottenham, and in a derby, you never know what's going to happen. But I would now be concentrating on just getting Europa League, because if we can't beat Palace and Brighton at home, we're in trouble. Like, we've still got to play United, Tottenham, and Chelsea and West Ham.
I refuse to believe that we're going into the 3rd season of the podcast without ever covering Arsenal in the Champions League. Go Gunners, goddammit. We need Arsenal and Inter in the same Champions League group, man.
We need that Arsenal-Inter game. I need it. But I feel like it's a few years down the line. I think, like, Arteta, there has been many moments. I've always been like, I've never been Arteta in. I've never been Arteta out. It's just, let's see how he does. And I feel like this is another mistake for him. His squad planning has been fucking atrocious. We could really do with Ainsley Maitland-Niles now. We could really do with Balogun now. Like, a lot of the players he let go were like, we kind of felt like we were going to need him. Lacazette isn't that guy. So we've now drafted in players from the under-21s. They've started training with the full squad, being like, okay, can we get? Are any of you ready? It's turned sour pretty quickly. The problem is that the Palace and Brighton games were the games where I thought, okay, let's get these points, then we can move on. Our fixtures get harder now. The only ray of hope is that Tottenham do always manage to bottle it. No matter how good a position they are in, they will slip up. So we've always got that hope.
Fingers crossed, of course, we are extremely biased in this podcast. Finger crossed for the red and white to access the Champions League again. Come on.
I really want it. I really, really want it. Then on Sunday...
How bad do you want it, Rory? How bad do you want it?
So bad. Then on Sunday, we have Newcastle taking on Leicester at 3:15, and West Ham taking on Burnley in the Battle of the Clarets. For some reason, they put both those games on at the same time on a Sunday. Who are these people? Some people want to watch more than one game. Not all of us like our family on Easter. Some of us want to just fill it with football.
In Italy, we say Natale con I tuoi e Pasqua con chi vuoi. Christmas with your family and Easter with whoever you like.
With who you want. I like that. So that is the Premier League action. Then it all kicks off again. But we're probably going to talk about... Oh, no, we're not. We're not on Monday. Then on Tuesday, we have Liverpool against United. Holy shit. United, after losing to Everton, the only thing that made me feel good last weekend was the fact that Everton beat United. I was like, okay, well, at least we're not United. They now have to take on Liverpool. We'll see how that goes. I think I might have a good idea how that game's going to go.
All right. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to be there on Monday night as I will be flying back from my weekend in London, and it's the day after Easter, and Rory will be probably decomposing on the couch, I imagine. I know
I'll be in Florence.
I'll be in Florence. There you go. I'll
be doing some Assassin's Creed shit, doing front flips through the center of Florence and climbing up walls. Yeah.
The amount of people that mention Assassin's Creed when
I was obsessed with that game. I fucking love that game.
I've never had a video game console, but I used to go to Michael's house to watch him play Assassin's Creed because it was so just good. Sick to just watch it. That and Red Dead Redemption, great video games to watch as an impartial party at a house party, I guess. And if we're ready, it's time to jump to our weekly topic. We are going to cover this week's madness in the Champions League, the Guinness World Record tweeting that the UCL might as well be the greatest sports competition ever conceived by mankind. Well, you know that here at the Anglo-Italian pod, we thoroughly agree. We're going to review the match, but especially to preview the semifinals. Let's do it.
Let's go.
It all started on Tuesday with the biggest of upsets signed by Unai Emery. Villarreal away at Bayern Munich, drawing 1-1 and punching their ticket for the semifinals. Chelsea won. However, that wasn't enough. At the Wednesday, we had a very nervy 0-0 between Atletico Madrid and Man City, and a very unexpected 3-3 draw between Liverpool and Benfica. Let's start from Tuesday. Rory, then Arsenal was the problem for Unai Emery. It was the problem all along.
It turns out our squad was a complete mess. If they'd have just listened to Unai, maybe we might have achieved something. Now, look, Unai in cup competitions needs to be discussed, right? This guy is absolutely smashing it in the Europa League, has smashed it in the Europa League, and he's now in the last year, he's beaten Arsenal, he's beaten Manchester United, he's beaten Bayern Munich, he's beaten Juventus. Like, he is taking down big names, big teams, and the way he prepared, I think how this is working is the fact that when he was at Arsenal, the players didn't really buy into the fact that he is so heavy on like video and like he plays depending on who they're playing. Whereas the Arsenal players, and I think the Arsenal board wanted teams to adapt to us, right? But what he's got at Villarreal is players who are just buying into the system. And as far as managers preparing for opponents, he might be one of the best in the world. Like, in the fact that he can just prepare how to beat people. And especially 100%. In cup competitions where you got a little bit more time to prepare. You've got a few weeks to research, whatever it is, the gaps in between. He has a bit more time, I think. But it really is his strength.
A hat-trick of Europa Leagues with Sevilla between 2014 and 2016, then a 5-year gap, then a 2021 Europa League victory with Villarreal, and now after eliminating Juventus and Bayern Munich, he's going to play a Champions League semi-final. We're going to get there, but let's say that Villarreal fans don't have fond memories of UCL semi-finals. against English teams. We're gonna get there. We're gonna get there, Rory. Don't worry. Don't sing already. It was 16 years ago, right? 16 years ago, very long time
God,
ago.
Jesus Christ! I was still at high school.
But so
Anyway.
1-1. Terminated the lead with Lewandowski, and I would like to send an email to Rulli, the goalkeeper from Villarreal, who is a very good goalkeeper. I don't understand what the fuck he was doing so far out from the line at the very edge of the box. It was a very avoidable goal, I want to say.
Is that the goalkeeper who played for Spain at the Euros? No, that's a different keeper, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe it is. Let me double check.
I think it is, because he made if that's him, I think he made a mistake at the Euros as well. I'm not sure if that's him, but yeah, terrible goalkeeping. But the Chukwueze goal, Chukwueze is how you say it, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic goal. And Villarreal, like as we said, they just prepare for the game so well. And Bayern at the back, they are not they're defensively, they are not great. And it says a lot about the Bundesliga that they are just running away with it. But I've never been convinced by Upamecano. Every time I've seen him, he's been massively disappointing. And I feel like Emery knew that they would get chances, and as long as they took those chances, they'd be fine. Like, he knew that defensively Bayern aren't that strong. For them, it's like there's going to be a huge review now of their team, of their transfer policy, because they expect to win the Bundesliga. They do win the Bundesliga. For them, it's almost like Juventus, I suppose, except Bayern actually win the Champions League. Like, they expect the scudetto. They only care about the Champions League. So I feel like now there's going to be a huge review, and especially of Nagelsmann as well. Like, there's going to be a look at him and be like, okay, he's a young, relatively inexperienced coach. Like, he's going to learn a lot more. But is there something here that needs looking at?
Absolutely. I just wanted to clarify the goalkeeper situation. Rulli, I remembered correctly, he's Argentinian, actually, and the Spanish goalkeeper at the Euros was Simon from Athletic Club.
Okay, I'm just getting them confused. My bad.
Look, Bayern Munich is a team that sometimes I think they auto-manage themselves. I'm like, any manager could go there and win easily. Turns out they are not. And this might as well be the end of the cycle. Müller is on his very last years. Neuer is on his very last years. It feels like they haven't done that. They haven't really regenerated the team. And now there are big talks, even confirmed, about Lewandowski moving to Barcelona next season. And so they need to come in quick with a new striker who could be as prolific as Robert, which is difficult to find. So definitely they need to sit down and think. Seeing how things unfolded at Barcelona, we were just like, they're done for like 5 years. Barcelona are going to be a mid-table team. Well, right now they're getting battered at home from Frankfurt as we are following live. You will know the final result by the time you're listening to this. They managed to recover pretty quickly. I don't think the situation at Bayern is that terrible, but I did not see them getting out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals against Villarreal.
Yeah, it's a huge disappointment for them. But again, yeah, massive. Like Villarreal, a town of 50,000 people, like it is absolutely tiny, and this is their second Champions League semi-final. It is insane. This club continues to overachieve, I suppose. But yeah, for Bayern Munich, there's going to be a huge review.
Do you remember that penalty miss by Riquelme in the second
I remember
leg of
the
Arsenal
layman save, you mean? The layman save. Yes, that's exactly what I remember.
I remember that Riquelme was so disappointed that he didn't even run to get the rebound. He was just like, fuck, this was our opportunity.
That was like the last minute as well. I remember being so nervous for that penalty. Oh my God. And we'd still not conceded a goal in the Champions League that year. It was insane.
And since history time is a flat circle and history tends to repeat itself, where did they play the final that year, Rory? Do you remember? In Paris. Yeah, it was in Paris. So Villarreal fans looking at these numbers and being like, God damn it. But I still think that they have a chance. And if you want to place a little bet on Villarreal, I think it could pay off.
I was looking. It's only 16-1. I was expecting it to be a little bit longer odds, but still worth a punt, I think. Still worth a punt.
The other game, absolute madness at the Santiago Bernabeu between Real Madrid and Chelsea. I had to watch on Tuesdays. I'm always busy. I had to watch the extended highlights. Rory, I know you watched the game live. Fucking madness, right?
Mate, like Real Madrid just did not turn up. Their midfield was absolutely woeful. Kroos was just getting overrun. And the game really did change on the Kroos substitution. When Kroos came off and Camavinga came on, the whole game changed. You have to say credit to Chelsea. They knew the mission and they got it done. Like they absolutely smashed Real Madrid. Were all over them. It looked like it was going to be Bernabeu, the home of the bottlers, like PSG bottle it there, then Real Madrid bottle it there. But Ancelotti really did see it, and he was like, "No, we need more. We need more like athleticism in midfield. We need more energy. We need someone that can allow Modric to do what he does." And I think like I don't want to dismiss Camavinga with just saying he's like a physical, fast player. He is an incredible, incredible player. I think he's going to be a signing that in the years to come, we're going to be like, wow, Real Madrid got him cheap. And they got him like really quickly. Nobody else went. It was just like, boom, they got him. He is an incredible player. But the moment of the game, that Modric assist, I've got a GIF of it. Thank you, Uncle Sharma. I have a GIF of it on my phone. I saved it to my phone. And I just honestly watched it like 20 times in a row. I was like, that is one of the most beautiful passes I've ever seen in my life. Not only the idea to do it, but the ability with the outside of your foot to put it exactly on Rodrigo's foot. That is one of the best passes I have ever seen. It's incredible. And it completely changed the game. And Real Madrid just got the job done. Ancelotti knows exactly what he's doing. I think I said Bayern, and now they've been dumped out. But I feel like there's a real inevitability about this Real Madrid team. They seem like they're going to get it. And I think my bold prediction is going to be, here we go, Liverpool Real final. Alisson makes a mistake and Real Madrid win the final.
Also,
can you imagine the scenes? Can you imagine the scenes?
Thinking about Alisson making a mistake, I cannot not think about Karius.
No, exactly. Can you imagine Liverpool finally get the chance for revenge, and then Alisson makes a mistake?
Have you seen how jacked Karius has become?
He's fucking huge now, eh?
Yeah, dude. And he still has their contract with Liverpool. It's fucking crazy.
It was like that picture. Do you remember when there was that picture of Torres that came up, and all of a sudden he was fucking huge when he was a coach?
Yeah.
You're like, what
there was a post the other day on Instagram of which player would you least want to fight? It was Adama Traoré, Fernando Torres, Loris Karius, and so on. But Rory, I wanted to ask you, besides the beautiful goals, the one by Werner, the Ronaldo Nazario vibes, was incredible. But I wanted to ask you, do you think that the Marcos Alonso goal should have been ruled out?
I think it was a handball. I think, honestly, he, under the modern rules, it's a handball, right? It touches his leg first, but I think you can definitely say he gets an advantage from the ball touching his hand. It helps him control it. You can say it touched his leg first, so it shouldn't count, but it helped him continue the run and then I think it was fairly black and white. I was surprised people complained about it, really.
Yeah, no, it's very harsh. It's just fucking sad. Like it wasn't intentional, but what a sick goal came out of that. But upon reviewing it on the screen, there is a hand touch in the box. That's not a goal. And you have
anything bad that happens to Marcos Alonso, I'm pretty happy about this.
Really? Why? You don't like Marcos?
We're not going to discuss it on the pod, but just look into the guy's history. He did some dark shit.
All right. I used to have him in fantasy football when he was at Fiorentina, and he used to score some sick free kicks. And also, I want to give some credit to Rodrigo for putting in that beautiful cross by Modric.
It was a great goal still.
It was a great goal. Like, let's give the guy some credit. And finally, who has to come to the rescue? If not, Mr. Karim Benzema. Dude, when he scored the goal, I felt like he just, dude, it was just like, I keep doing the same shit. I keep doing the same shit. I'm the fucking king. Really, really putting his name on the list for the Ballon d'Or winner.
And it was just the moment where I think on our group chat with the Hopeless Wanderer pod, we were discussing, I was like, man, Benzema has been anonymous tonight. Like, he's barely touched it. And of course he was going to score.
And the last thing that I wanted to say, Antonio Rudiger, I remember him at Roma. How that guy has improved over the last few years at Chelsea is insane. There are rumors of him going to Juventus. God damn it. No, we don't need that. You don't agree?
He's obviously unbelievable, right?
He's
but I feel like
he
treads the line between world class and absolute calamity really well. I feel like he's never that far away from making a mistake or just doing something a bit mad. But he's one of the best centre-backs in the world. But I always feel like there's something about the way he plays where I'm like, he could do something completely ridiculous here. And like, there was a few moments in the Real Madrid game I was like, he gets a bit hot-headed. He loses his shit every so often. On my mind, he treads that line really, really well. But I feel like there's a meltdown at some point coming.
Yeah, I still don't want to see him at Juventus regardless. We move on to Wednesday, Atletico Madrid, Man City 0-0. I will let you go with your opinion soon, but first I just wanted to say that this game, to me, proves exactly the opposite of what many fans have been saying about Simeone. This guy plays anti-football.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Yeah.
This guy understands football very well. And he knew that by going to the Etihad, there was no way on earth that his team, with that set of players, could cause any type of threat to Man City, and they had to defend. They took them to their own home ground. And if they had won that game 2-0 without discrediting Man City, it wouldn't have been an unfair result, in my opinion. Props to Man City, props to Guardiola. I think Guardiola did great in that game. You could sense his nervousness. He was just like,
The second half especially.
He was, I could, like, if I could read his thoughts, I just want to think that they were just it was just like, God damn it. All right, 90 minutes of my life. It's going to be over soon. I hate this stadium. I hate their style of playing. I hate everything about it. Just focus on your job. It's going to be over at some point. We're going to make it. I don't know how excited he is to go back to Madrid now for the semifinals, but that's another story. And also another thing about the stadium, the atmosphere was insane, and I don't think there is any team in the world that has, like, the team and the crowd, they move together. They have the same goals in mind. They have the same mentality. They back the team no matter what they do. The atmosphere was insane. It's, in my opinion, it's sad to see them go, but I do believe that Manchester City were the better team across the two legs, so they deserve to be in the semifinals.
Oh yeah, they definitely deserved it. But I think, there was a lot of people like, I feel like in the UK, and people who listen to this who aren't from the UK will probably go, well, yeah, of course. But a lot of the coverage is quite patronizing and quite condescending towards Atletico, and a lot of it was like, having to go at them for their antics, for their, shit housing, for their style of football. But I don't get why Simeone is expected to just turn up to the Etihad and accept a spanking. Like, of course, he's going to do everything in his power to get his team through. I think there is a place in football for the style of, for that kind of shit housing and for that defensive, the art of defending. There's a space for that in football. And you're right, in the second leg, they really did show that they can play fantastic football. They have great footballers. They arguably should have had a penalty. I think City got very, very lucky with that. Guardiola said towards the end that they forgot to play second half. And then I can't believe we've gone this long without talking about the absolute scenes at the end between Savic and Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish is a snide prick. Everybody knows he's a snide prick. He runs off the bench. I think, like, the funny thing is, Foden, he does an Atletico trick, right? He's injured. He's off the pitch. He rolls back onto the pitch, right? Which is a massive Atletico trick, right? So I'm all for that, right? Foden giving Atletico a taste of their own medicine. Yeah, good, great. But then the English press don't mention that, but they have a go at Atletico for doing those things, right? But because it's Foden, we just ignore that, right? Then they have a go at Savic for pulling Grealish's hair, which obviously is just a bit of a bitch move. It's just, I mean, what are you doing?
Can I say something
right?
about that?
But
since we
Grealish
mentioned...
has run the length of the pitch to call you a cunt. So, like, I would be, maybe not pulling his hair, but, like, I don't know. And the Felipe tackle that kicked this all off was a bad tackle. It was a bad tackle. Kyle Walker could have a serious injury. There were some bad tackles in this game. But I feel like the way the British, or no, I'm not British, I'm going to say English because the Scottish and Welsh will not thank me for including them in it. The way the English press cover this game and games across Europe in general is pretty fucking irritating. It's just very holier than thou, and it does annoy me.
And also, I love the shit Hauser in the first leg when they started pulling Jack Grealish's hair. And we mentioned basketball earlier. I do love basketball. I don't follow it as much as football, clearly. But the trash talking in the NBA, it goes to levels that you would not imagine. And look, if like it's part like these players are like competing at top world football. If you have something to say to somebody to just like, set them off, fucking say it. If it's not racist, if it's not an insult to somebody's family, like just fucking go for it. Like you're pulling the guy's hair. The guy's making millions with Gucci. Like, goddamn. And one other thing I want to say, I've got a lot of time for Zinchenko from Manchester City. He was on the bench and he tried to calm the situation down right when that shit started kicking off. There was also a funny bit during the warm-up to the game. The Italian woman who was covering from the sideline, she looked in complete darkness. And they asked her, what's going on with the lights? And she's like, well, they were warming up and the tripod that we had with the light fell down. And so right now we have it like that. And Zinchenko comes to her and she's like, hey, it was Grealish who like made it fall down. He hit it. You should ask him for money. He's fucking rich. And she was just like, all right, thank you very much. And then he proceeds to just run off laughing at Grealish. And I thought it was a great bit to see.
Well, it was. I think it was a really intriguing tie. We know that like Simeone and Guardiola hate each other, and I love that like that was kind of it was reincarnated on the pitch. It all kicked off in the tunnel afterwards. City players could be punished. UEFA are going to look into it. There was quite a funny, I think it was Vasaico, who tried to headbutt someone from like 10 foot away in an ultimate kind of like, when like your mate's trying to like kick off at someone, he's like, hold me back, I'm going to hit him, but he doesn't actually want you to let him go. It was a massive kind of that vibe, but he tried to like Bluetooth a header to someone, which was quite impressive.
Bluetoothing a header. I kind of like that. Bluetooth a header into somebody. And the final game of the quarterfinals was Liverpool 3, Benfica 3. Of course, Liverpool weren't playing with all of their starters, but I have to say it, Liverpool are flirting a lot with danger. Maybe too much. And they have a tricky opponent in the semifinals. And I want to say that for Villarreal, this is the best of the other three opponents that they could face in the Champions League semifinal. They concede goals. We've talked about how they play very often only 20 out of the 90 minutes. And if there is a team that seems to be capable of making the most out of the time that you're not playing, is Villarreal. So I think Liverpool should be careful. And this game, I really did not expect such a score. And the Liverpool's defense looked woeful in the majority of the Benfica goals. Another goal by Konate, of course. The two fullbacks were Gomez and the Tsimikas, who are not usually starters. However, Tsimikas had the 2 assists. But I want to say that they need to be careful, man. They need to be very careful going into the semifinals. I've
already seen Liverpool fans online saying, okay, it's an easy run to the final now. Let's go. And it's like, oh, you really don't.
It's not.
Have you not just seen who Villarreal have knocked out? Like, I would be taking a long, hard look in the mirror before I'm starting to book my tickets to the final. Like, you know what I mean? It's going to be a difficult one. We'll get onto it, but I think Emery's record against Klopp isn't great, but he has beaten him in a final, so who knows?
And Rory, I have to say it, I would hate to be a Benfica fan because Darwin Núñez from Uruguay he's shown
gone. He's so gone.
He's so gone. He's shown. I was watching the game as a Benfica fan, and I was just like, stop!
Stop playing so well.
Stop playing so well, man. He's got everything. Like, if it wasn't for that Becker save, which was
unbelievable,
incredible save. What a stretch! Like, what an incredible stretch. He would have scored a great Champions League goal. He still had one, but I was very impressed with the way that Benfica played overall. And the player that I've got a lot of time for, Everton, another very talented Brazilian.
Genuinely exciting player. He was a player that Arsenal were linked with before he came to Benfica when he was at Grêmio, I want to say. Really exciting player. But Darwin Núñez, I'm almost at that point now with the Benfica fans going, stop playing so well. I want Arsenal to get you. Like, it's already been He's been linked to Man City, but they want Haaland. He's been linked to United, but apparently he said he doesn't want to go to United. The teams that are after him are Arsenal, Tottenham, and West Ham. But West Ham had the chance to sign him in January and didn't spend the money. I feel like they could massively regret that decision come June.
Yeah, 53 appearances and 30 goals for Benfica.
Please come to Arsenal. Please fucking come to Arsenal. Please.
10 appearances in the Champions League, 6 goals. These are some of the
and
stats.
two of those against Barcelona, and one of them is fucking sick. Like I said it earlier. This is the guy. This is the guy. He's the guy.
We will see who snatches it, but it's about time to move on to the semifinals. Rory, I will go first. So we decided to analyze the two different ties. I'm going for City, Real. Let's start with the history between these two teams, which is super even. They've met 6 times, 2 wins, a win, draw, loss each. So it's absolutely fair. They met in 15-16 in the semifinals. It ended 0-0 at City, and Real Madrid won 1-0 over at Madrid. And they also met in 2012-2013 in the group stage of Champions League. Again, a draw at City, 1-1, and the Real Madrid win over at the Bernabeu. But let's talk about the two managers. Number one, we've got coming from the corner, Carlo Ancelotti. Now, let this stat sink in. He's the first ever football manager to qualify for the semifinals of the Champions League in 4 different decades. In the 1990s with Juventus, in the 2000s with AC Milan, and in the 2010s and 2020s with Bayern Munich and Real Madrid. What an incredible manager. He's reached the semifinals 8 times, and he's won 4 of those times. So 50% record in semifinals. He's participated to 19 editions of the Champions League. This man knows the game, and he's won a total of 3 titles. On the other side, we've got Mr. Pep Guardiola, who holds the record for most Champions League semifinals reached by any manager in history, with 9. He's won, however, in only 3 of those occasions, so a 33% win percentage in the Champions League semifinals. He's taken part to 13 editions of the Champions League, and he has got 2 titles. But let's take a look at the head-to-head between the two managers. And this one could sound a little bit mischieving when you hear the stat at first. They've met 6 times, all right? They've met 6 times, and Guardiola has won 4 of those times versus Ancelotti. The total of goals is 12-7 in favor of Guardiola. However, when you break down, when you click on that hyperlink, you notice that the 4 games that Guardiola won against Ancelotti were Manchester City versus Everton. Oh, yeah, right. Carlo Ancelotti also moved Everton. Right. So 3 of those times were in the Premier League and 1 in the FA Cup. So in the Premier League, they met in 2021, City 5, Everton 0. They met in the FA Cup in 2021, City 2, Everton 0. They met in the Premier League, the first leg in 21, with City winning 3-1 against Everton. And the first time that they met in the Premier League was in 2020, with City winning 2-1 versus Everton. But the 2 games that Ancelotti has won in his career against Guardiola were here in the Champions League semifinals, when Bayern Munich played Real Madrid in 2014. Of course, Pep Guardiola was managing Bayern, and Carlo Ancelotti was managing Real Madrid. Real Madrid won the first leg at home with a goal by a certain Karim Benzema that you might have heard of, and they won the return leg away from home at Munich 4-0 with a brace by Ronaldo and a brace by Ramos. So if we look at this, it feels like Ancelotti is kind of the more experienced one in the Champions League, but I think that these 2 games are going to be incredible. Mad respect. I've heard in the past quotes about Ancelotti, Guardiola praising Ancelotti. These are 2 of the best managers in the history of the game. it's going to be a clash between heavyweights. I'm expecting a lot of goals, but the more I feel like the better tactical manager will win, and Ancelotti knows. I think he doesn't do that classic Guardiola thing of overthinking. He knows exactly what he's doing. I don't know who's going to go through. I want to say Real Madrid, and Real Madrid eventually win it all. But Man City, I think that they are matured enough to finally try and play a Champions League final and win it. We shall see. This was my breakdown between City and Real. Semifinals coming soon. Rory, what have you got for us in Liverpool, Benfica? Villarreal.
So Unai Emery taking on Jurgen Klopp. Now, they've only faced each other 5 times. In that, Jurgen Klopp has won 3 times. They've drawn once, and Emery has won once. Now, Liverpool and Villarreal, they've only ever faced each other twice in their history. It was in the 2016 Europa League semi-finals. Liverpool did get through, winning 4-0 on aggregate, but they would go on to meet Unai Emery in the final against Sevilla, where they would go 1-0 up, but ultimately lose 3-1, completing the 3 Europa League titles in 3 years that Unai Emery achieved at Sevilla. So that is the one win that Emery has over Klopp. Klopp beat Emery a lot whilst he was at Arsenal, which kind of makes sense, right? He beat Arsenal 5-1. He beat them 3-1. And there was a absolutely mental 5-5 draw in the League Cup, which went to penalties. There was a Mustafi own goal. There was a Joe Willock banger, and there was a Divock Origi last-minute equaliser. It's got all the ingredients. Arsenal will go on to lose 10-9 on penalties. So their head-to-head is fairly one-sided. But Emery does have the win on the big stage. As far as this game is going to go, I think it's kind of interesting because, as we've said before, Liverpool are only ever going to play their way. That's what they do, right? They're going to play their style. Villarreal are going to try and combat that style. I think Villarreal are very, very good at soaking up pressure. They're very good on the counter-attack. Liverpool do play a high line, a very, very high line. I think this game is going to be a lot closer than we think it's going to be. For the Liverpool fans that are already booking their flights to wherever the final is it Paris? Yeah. For them who are booking their own flights, I think you might want to hold off on that. I think Villarreal are really going to put up a fight here. It's going to be a proper clash of styles. Klopp doing what he wants and Emery doing his best to battle what Klopp wants. But not much history between these two teams. Kind of strange. All the managers.
By the way, I love the Champions League because there is always room for a fairy tale story, and Villarreal is a bit of a fairy tale story this season. I really did love a quote by Klopp over the week when he said, my objective at Liverpool wasn't to create the best football team in the world, but to create a football team able to play against each and every of the best football teams in the world.
I like that.
He said, and then he hinted, if you want to look at the best in the world, you should go look over at the blue side of Manchester.
I like how he deflects the attention, right? It's very, very, very clever. But I think another deciding factor here is going to be the fact that Liverpool are involved in a title race. They could still be involved in the FA Cup, although that will just be the final if they get through. Villarreal now, they can't really qualify for Europe within the La Liga. They're 8 points behind Real Sociedad. They can put everything they can into this.
100%.
Liverpool will probably not be able to rest players. Villarreal will be able to rest players. They will be able to take their foot off the gas in La Liga a little bit because, as I said, the European spots are probably a little bit beyond them. So I think that could be a huge factor as well. We said Emery is so good at preparing for these cup ties. If you then give him the chance to rest players and prepare teams as well, I think there really could be a surprise here. But then we saw it with Atalanta, we saw it with Ajax, right? You get over 2 hurdles. The third one often is a step too far. But I'm pretty excited about this tie. I'm pretty excited. If Emery fucking wins it with Villarreal, I'm gonna pull my hair out. I swear to God. Oh God, if he does it, it would be I've already seen so much revisionism on Twitter from Arsenal fans that are like, oh, maybe we should have kept Emery. No, it wasn't working. He's happy at Villarreal. Good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are done recording so late on this Thursday night.
Fucking 11 o'clock at night. It's my bedtime, man.
We've got the full picture of the Conference League semi-finals. So Leicester win 2-1 over PSV Eindhoven. Marseille win 1-0 over PAOK Thessaloniki. Roma make it to the semi-finals.
They beat Bodo Glimt. They beat Bodo Glimt.
With a hat-trick from Nicolò Zaniolo. What? And then Feyenoord winning quite comfortably away from home at the Slavia Prague, the semi-finals.
Sorry, did Reece Nelson score? I need to check.
Let me double check. Reece Nelson. No, he did not score.
No, he's been killing it for them recently anyway. He's on loan from Arsenal.
But the Conference League semi-finals is going to be Leicester City, Roma. And on the other side, we've got Feyenoord, Marseille, 4 teams from 4 different countries taking on each other in the semifinals.
Leicester City, Roma. That sounds.
We've got sick, England versus Italy and France versus the Netherlands, and we almost have the full picture of the semifinals of the Europa League because Rangers and Braga are going to overtime after a Rangers 2-1 win in over the 90 minutes. But the other wins are from RB Leipzig 2-0 against Atalanta. Frankfurt, they win 3-2 against Barcelona. There were 11 minutes of stoppage time conceded in which Barcelona scored 2 goals with Busquets and Depay after Frankfurt had gone up 3-0. West Ham win very comfortably over at Lyon with a 3-0 win. And we will find out the latest of the finalists. But so
that's West Ham Frankfurt, right? West Ham Frankfurt.
So we've got West Ham Frankfurt on one side and Leipzig against either Rangers of Braga. Listeners, by the time you're listening to this, you will know the full picture. Rory, anything to say to our listeners before I send them off?
Can West Ham do it? I just want to see Mark Noble lift the Europa League. For him to lift a trophy with West Ham would be huge. I really hope he does it.
Also, one of the coolest logos in world football. Super working class.
Yeah.
Let's go. Proper British style. Industrial Revolution British style. Guys, we can only wish you happy Easter and to our Muslim friends a happy continuation of Ramadan. I believe it's almost over. Keep going. We're going to talk to you again next Friday as our EuroReview Monday night show is canceled for the upcoming week. Enjoy your Easter. Have fun. Relax. Enjoy your football. We are going to talk to you again next week. Remember to follow us on Instagram at Anglo-Italian Pod, on Twitter at Italian Anglo Pod. And if you want to be super fucking professional, add us on LinkedIn. Do the move, dude. We're over there too. We're conquering the world of social media step by step. I'm going to send you off with a quote by Villarreal's Dani Parejo. When the draw was made and Bayern Munich got Villarreal, their coach, whom honestly I don't know, disrespected not only Villarreal but also football by saying he wanted to settle the tie in the first leg. It was disrespectful, and well, sometimes when you spit up in the air, it falls on your face. Well said, Dani. Good luck, Villarreal. Forza Inter, Forza Arsenal. We'll talk to you next Friday. Bye, guys.